Hello, gentlemen. I have returned here after another long week. I have read through hundreds of comments from your video last week, and there was one question that appeared again and again, the most of any. How do I get my wife to want sex with me more often? Today, I am going to answer that question, but in a different way. If you are trying to save your marriage right now, gentlemen, by searching for every trick to make her want sex more often, then you yourself are the one holding the shovel digging the grave of your masculinity. I am telling you straight, you are heading down the most mistaken path of all. Listen to the harsh truth I am about to share with you right now. Your wife does not lack sexual desire the way you think she does. She is simply using her own body as a fortified castle wall, a fortress built to protect herself from her very own husband. From you, the man who has slept beside her for the last 30 years. This sentence hurts, I know it does, but you need to hear this truth. Brew yourself a strong cup of coffee and sit down here with me, because what I am about to say will change the way you see everything. Why are society and the counseling experts so wrong about this issue? They tell you to bring her flowers on every important anniversary. They tell you to help around the house, wash dishes, vacuum, fold laundry. They tell you to learn brand new techniques inside the bedroom. They turn sex into a kind of reward for good behavior from a man. The English term is performance-driven, based on what you achieve. This is the core mistake that has killed millions of marriages. They treat sex as a simple math problem about frequency over time, when in reality, it is a math problem about nervous system safety. The English term is nervous system safety, an extremely important concept. This is the difference that 90% of American men completely miss. When you treat sex like something you must acquire at all costs, you unintentionally turn yourself into a massive source of pressure. A level 5 fire alarm sounding inside your wife's chest cavity. She hears your footsteps coming into the bedroom. Her heart starts racing, not because of excitement, but because of fear, because of high alert. She pretends to be asleep the moment you turn off the bathroom light. She lies completely still, not breathing hard, hoping you will not touch her. This is the nervous system locked in defensive mode, gentlemen. It is not laziness, and it is not a rejection of love itself. Before we go any deeper, I need to make one important disclaimer. The analysis that follows is only for relationships built on real love, built on mutual respect, and on the free choice of both partners. We are completely excluding cases involving any physical violence. We are excluding cases involving substance abuse, such as alcohol or drugs. We are excluding cases involving an active and ongoing affair, or any toxic personality disorder that requires specialized clinical care. If you fall into one of those categories, find a specialist today. Now I am going to expose 4 behaviors that are destroying connection. 4 behaviors that you yourself are unintentionally doing every single day. The first behavior, in Vietnamese culture, is called pushing through the pain. In English, we call it gritting through, clenching the teeth and enduring. She has sex with you only to get through 20 minutes of obligation. She lies there counting the cracks in the bedroom ceiling above her. She thinks about the grocery list she needs to handle in the morning. She waits for you to finish, then turns over and goes back to sleep. This turns sex from a peak experience into a consensual violation. This is a crucial concept. Listen to it one more time carefully. A violation with consent is still a violation of her body. Her body slowly freezes over after each one of these experiences. After 5 years, after 10 years, her body has shut its doors completely, and you still do not understand why sex disappeared from your home. The second behavior is called identity fusion in the field of psychology. The English term is identity fusion, a dangerous phenomenon in long marriages. You are no longer an independent individual with your own interests. You used to go fishing every Saturday morning with the guys. You used to go hiking with your close group of friends on weekends. You used to read history books with a glass of whiskey in the evening. All of those things have completely vanished over the last 5 years. Now you are a little tail attached to her, following her everywhere she goes. You go shopping with her. You watch Hallmark movies sitting beside her. You search for confirmation of your own worth through closeness with her. She can smell that clinging neediness from miles and miles away. And no woman in the world finds a shadow attractive, gentlemen. The third behavior I call blindness to the small signals all around you. In English, we call it bid blindness, a concept from the Gottman Institute. Because you are so afraid of being rejected in the big moments, you stop noticing the small connection efforts your wife is making. She glances at you while you are reading the newspaper. You do not see it. She asks about your meeting today, and you reply with one short word. She touches your shoulder as she passes through the kitchen. You do not respond. She sends you an article through a text message, and you never reply. Dr. John Gottman calls all of these things bids for connection. Invitations to connect. The small bricks that build a strong marriage. You have missed thousands of these invitations over the years, gentlemen. You only see one single destination, which is what happens in the bedroom. And that is precisely why the bedroom door slams shut on you. The fourth behavior I call the rigid script that runs in your sex life. In English, we call it rigid scripting, a habit that kills off passion. You assume that sex must begin from a fixed starting point A, a few kisses, a few touches, in a sequence that never ever changes, and it must end at a fixed point B within 20 minutes flat. Same position, same time of night, same dark and silent room. The same order of operations for 30 straight years, never changing. This complete lack of flexibility kills off adventure in the bedroom. It kills off the curiosity that human sexuality genuinely requires. Our brains are addicted to novelty, and they despise repetition. Now I need to bring you into the deeper science behind all of this. Let us talk about polyvagal theory, an extremely important framework. The English name is Polyvagal Theory, developed by Dr. Stephen Porges. It is one of the biggest breakthroughs in modern neuroscience today. When a woman feels coerced, or feels she has no autonomy of her own, especially women carrying psychological trauma from earlier in life. It may be a wound from her childhood that she has never told you about. It may be a terrible past relationship from before she ever met you. Her nervous system will shift into what is called the dorsal vagal state. This is the state of total freeze and complete shutdown of the body. In this state, every physical touch is processed by the brain, processed as a potential threat that requires defensive action. This is not her making a rational choice to reject you, gentlemen. This is an automatic biological response, far outside her conscious control. And the more you demand, the more tightly her nervous system locks down. Next is the issue of the dopamine system and rejection inside the male brain. Neuroscience research has shown the following about the male nervous system. When a man is continuously rejected for many years in a row, the brain develops a painful coping adaptation in response over time. It stops expecting anything at all in order to avoid repeated pain. This unintentionally creates a hellish feedback loop inside the marriage. The less you hope for, the less you genuinely care about your wife. The less you care, the more she feels alone inside the relationship. She feels alone inside the four walls of her very own home. And that loneliness causes her nervous system to freeze even further. This spiral pulls both of you down toward the bottom of despair. Now we arrive at the most important awakening point of this video. Where is the masculine identity inside of you actually heading these days? Your masculinity does not live in the number of times you win in the bedroom. I am going to say this again so it is perfectly clear, gentlemen. A man who has to beg for sexual intimacy from his own wife is a man who has completely lost his own personal sense of agency. The English term is agency, the ability to be the author of your own life. When you place your entire self-respect into your wife's permission, when you place your entire self-worth into a yes or a no from her, you have unintentionally turned her into the judge of your whole life. She is the one who decides whether you have value today or not. She is the one who decides whether you are a man tonight or not. This does not only create enormous pressure on her shoulders, gentlemen. It also makes you the least attractive version of yourself in her eyes. Esther Perel wrote one beautiful line in her book, Mating in Captivity. Attraction requires distance and independence in order to even exist. She calls it erotic intelligence, the intelligence of desire itself. Two trees pressed tightly against each other cannot let any wind pass through. No wind, no stimulation, no arousal, no desire whatsoever in the air. So where does the real solution live for a man? Where do you start? The first thing is to stop trying to fix your wife right now, today. She is not a machine with a broken libido that needs repair work. She is not a math problem that you have to find an answer for. She is a complex human being with her own nervous system to manage. Take back your agency, the self-direction of your own life and choices. Return to the passions you abandoned years ago for the sake of the relationship. Reach back out to the friends you have not called in a very long time. Re-establish the personal boundaries you slowly let dissolve over the years. And then you need to reframe the way you look at sex altogether. The English term is reframe, a very powerful psychological technique. Stop treating the search for your wife's desire as if it were a battle that you must win at any cost in order to survive. Treat it instead as an exciting new adventure waiting to be explored. An adventure on which you are the most patient guide of all. No rushing, no pressure, no need for immediate results right away. Now, I am giving you a 4-step action plan that is very concrete. You can begin executing it tonight when you walk through the front door. Step 1 is to take sex completely off the negotiating table. The English phrase is take sex off the table, a very courageous step. Make a commitment to yourself not to ask for sex for 30 full days. I know, 30 days sounds like an eternity to you right now. But this is the time required for both nervous systems to genuinely rest. Both your nervous system and the nervous system of your wife. Tell her directly, I want us to take a break from sex for a month. Not because I am angry with you, but because I want us to reconnect. She will be shocked. She may be suspicious. She may ask many questions. But after 1 week, you will feel the air in the house begin to shift. The fortress inside her body will begin to lower its defensive flags. Step 2 is to build small connection micro-habits into every single day. The English term is micro-habits, small actions practiced consistently. Focus on non-sexual affectionate gestures throughout each day at home. A 6-second kiss in the morning before you head out the door for work. A 90-second hug with no other purpose attached to it at all. A supportive text message in the middle of the day while she is working. You are doing a great job today. I am really proud of you, honey. That's simple. No flowery language required. Nothing complicated needed. These small drops of water will slowly fill up the dry well inside your wife. Step 3 is to consider the issue of trauma support if it applies. The English term is trauma support, a very delicate and important step. If your wife carries a history of unhealed trauma from earlier years, gently encourage her to find a skilled trauma therapist for herself. But listen carefully to the reason you are encouraging her to do this. It is not so that she can have more sex with you in the bedroom. That is a selfish motive that she will detect from a mile away. Encourage her so that she can find peace inside her own body again, so that she can live comfortably inside her own skin once more. This is what genuine, unconditional love actually looks like in practice. Step 4 is to create zones of autonomy for both you and her. The English phrase is zones of autonomy, separate space for each individual. Dedicate personal time for yourself each week with no wife involved. Go fishing on Saturday morning the way you used to do years ago. Go grab a beer with your buddies on Friday night every week. Join a book club. Hit the gym in the very early morning hours. And encourage her to do exactly the same thing for herself. Coffee with girlfriends, a yoga class, a painting class downtown. There is one quote I love very much on this particular subject. Fire needs oxygen to burn, and oxygen is the distance between two people. 2 logs pressed tightly together will only produce smoke, nothing else. You have to pull them apart a little for a real flame to actually rise. If you are tired of feeling rejected over and over and over again, if you are exhausted by long nights of lying back to back in silence, if you want to reclaim the masculine identity of a man who runs his own life, do not keep walking this path alone in the dark any longer, gentlemen. Do not hide this pain the way you have hidden it for the last 20 years. Join our community through the link in the description right below, where men choose the path of healing rather than the path of quiet endurance, where there is no judgment, only deep brotherhood and understanding. Click the link below to join us today, right now, gentlemen. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait until the start of next week. Every night you wait is another night you lose a piece of yourself. Finally, I want you to turn off your phone for the next 5 minutes. Walk into the bedroom where you and your wife have slept for many years. Look at the double bed. Look at the 2 pillows resting side by side. Look at the empty space lying between those 2 pillows on the sheet. The empty space that the 2 of you unintentionally created over time. And ask your own heart the most honest question of your entire life. Throughout all of those years that you never stopped trying to make your wife want you again, have you ever paused long enough to ask yourself whether perhaps your own desperate striving became the strongest fortress wall standing between her and you, and whether the fortress inside her body was never actually defending itself against love, but defending itself against your own fear, disguised underneath the costume of desire?